throughout the US and Canada. And I want you guys to know that the energy when we get on these is amazing. There were so many, I think we had like 250, 260 people on last night. We had the sponsoring, the new affiliates are still rolling in this morning. But you guys, now is the time. Now is the time to focus on where we're going as a company and what we're doing. I'm going to talk about right now the power of recruiting and the need for recruiting and focusing on that in our business. And then I want to jump in and recognize some of those organizations that have really buckled down over the last couple of months and have made this a big focus of their business. And part of the reason that we're doing this is we've made transitions to this new compensation structure. It has a greater emphasis to focus on DCSV, focus on customer volume, which is imperative. It's imperative to have that customer volume in there and make sure that our new affiliates have volume and they're retaining longer. But we can't forget the recruiting side of our business. And there's a couple of things that go along with the recruiting side that make it so important. One, you've got to overcome the mindset. We'll talk a little bit about that. Two, you've got to feel confident in the direction that we're going and where we're headed as a company. And if any of you guys, and this is going out to all Blue Diamonds, if you have any question of who we are as a company or where we're going with our vision for new skin, but overall beauty, skincare, wellness, I want you to reach out to me. In fact, let's schedule some time that we can put together a business opportunity call for you and your teams to help make sure that they understand that they're being trained on where we're going as a company, but they feel confident enough that they can turn around and say, you should join this. This is a movement. This is amazing. What we're doing here is incredible. We're revolutionizing things. It's got to be burning in each and every one of your hearts and your souls because we are so incredibly motivated, excited, passionate about what we're doing here. And I want to make sure you're all on the same page. So let's jump in and talk a little bit about sponsoring. Next slide. Growth is fun. And growth in the business, when you look at growth and where the energy comes from, it comes from helping brand new people experience the benefits of the business. That it means bigger paychecks. It means bigger teams. It means more credibility when you've got more people joining your organization. And I have to say, I have seen with some of our leaders that have gone out and started focusing on recruiting. We're going to talk about some of these teams in the next little bit. You see the energy of those teams that are it's exploding because they've got brand new people that are seeing things through fresh eyes and the opportunity in such incredible ways. So you guys, growth is where it's at. There was a song from like the 1950s or 60s where he said, if you're not busy being born, you're busy dying. And we've got to be busy being born. So I always ask myself this question, okay? And on the corporate side, not only the corporate side of Nu Skin, but any business whatsoever, you should ask yourself, what would it take to 10x? Okay, and I'm going to scale that down and say, what would it take to double? If we said in 2025, what would it take to double your business? And there's really 3 strategies that you can take to double your business. We could go out to every single customer that you have within your teams right now and get them to buy twice as much. So if they buy twice as much collagen, twice as much nano, twice as much meta, we just, instead of buying 1 LumiSpa, buy 2. How realistic is that? How realistic is it to get those customers to buy twice as much? I think there is some opportunity there to be good with upselling and try to get more into their cart on a regular basis and get customers to buy more and more. I think there is opportunity there. The customers that we have in our business, it's easier to sell to them than it is to even acquire new customers. But that's one strategy. And if we got customers to buy twice as much, our volume would double as a company. The next strategy for doubling the size of a business would be getting twice as many customers. So let's say you're an affiliate right now and you've got 50 customers. It would be maintaining those 50 and getting an additional 50 more for 100 customers. And if we did that across the United States, then we would double the size of our business. I mean, it's just logical, right? It makes sense. Christy Gaynor is saying exactly what the punchline is on this. The third strategy is getting more affiliates that have average customers with average order size and the average number of customers. And what we see in our business is that across different teams, across different organizations, when you look at brand rep numbers, GSV, or that group volume, is roughly the same. When we look at the affiliate numbers, the amount of sales that each affiliate is generating is about the same, each active affiliate. And so really it comes down to the third strategy, which is doubling the number of affiliates that we have in our team. So what does that mean? Does that mean that we just talk twice as much about the business? Or do we get more effective in the messages that we're putting out about Nu Skin, where we're going? Does it mean that we get more passionate about it, more excited about it, and people feel that? They feel that energy and they say, I want to be a part of this. You know, it's probably a combination of all of those things. But let's jump in and talk about some of the things that might prohibit us from doubling that. One of the major things that we see is mindset. Now, throughout my career, my 20 plus years in direct sales, one of the biggest things that holds anyone back from sponsoring another person is mindset. It's that fear of rejection. And I don't understand, because they're willing to talk about the products. They'll talk about LumiSpa, they'll talk about collagen, they'll talk about new biome, they'll talk about Meta, they'll talk about Nano, they'll talk about LifePack. Like, they'll talk about all this stuff. But when it comes to asking somebody or talking about the business, that's where they shrink. Okay? And we're not talking Nu Skin, we're talking, this is universal throughout direct sales. So we have to say, how do we impact the mindset? And how do we help people come out of that? Let's go to the next slide. One of them is overcoming those feelings. And once you're able to overcome those feelings, the business takes off. I mean, I've seen challenges where people say, okay, your first goal in the business is get to 100 no's of asking people to join you in the business. Get to 100. I want you to get no's. And along the way, they're going to see what works to get to a yes. The other thing is, like last night, holding this business presentation, we made it easier for people to invite. There was a due date that said, okay, by this date, you've got to get people on this Zoom. There was a due date that gave a little bit of pressure to people, and it wasn't them having to do the presentation. It was somebody else. We took the burden off of the team, and all they had to do was invite. That was it. You know, especially to people that they had relationships and customers that they could reach out to and say, hey, I know you've thought about this in the past. I know that we've talked about it. You got to get on tonight. And all they had to do was reach out. That's it. So overcoming those feelings is number one. Let's jump to the next slide. Well, actually, let's go back to that last slide, the overcoming the feelings. So you do that with creating an environment where it's easier for people to succeed. Number two, train them on it. Train your teams on it. Talk about it with them to make sure that they know what to do to talk about the business. Because if they feel icky about it, if they feel like they're hamstrung, if they feel like, oh, if I say this, it's going to come off weird, give them examples. Show them that it's not weird, that it's natural, that this is a progression. Show them who those individuals are that are ripe to say yes to Nu Skin, to this opportunity. Look at the demographics, you guys. We've got groups of teachers that are incredible, like educators that are incredible in direct sales. We've got healthcare professionals. I heard about yesterday 2 individuals that are dental hygienists that just joined the business because they love the LumiSpa, not even because of the toothpaste. Okay, we've got all of these different segments of individuals out there that are looking for opportunity. And if you could hone in on one and speak to them and teach your teams how to speak to them, man, I'm going to tell you, you will increase the confidence, their confidence in being able to reach out and build relationships with people. The other one is Well, let's go to the next slide now. Let's talk about some analytics that we found. So when we look at organizations that are growing, we see that they're recruiting at a faster pace. And this is how I understand the measurement. So I've got to understand when I'm looking at organizations, how are they talking about our business? And I can see with organizations that are growing, they sponsor one new affiliate for every 2,000 to 3,000 in sales. Okay, for every 2,000 to 3,000 in volume, they're sponsoring one person. Think about that. So they're selling, and then they're sponsoring one person along the way for every 2,000 to 3,000 in sales. What if we took that up to where people were sponsoring someone for every 1,000 points in sales? It would skyrocket your business. Okay. Now, those organizations that are stagnant or not growing, it's one for every 7,000 in sales, which means the confidence in the business opportunity is not moving as quickly. They don't know what to say. They're not trained in it. They don't know what to post about it. They don't know how to have the conversation. Okay, and if they don't feel confident in that, they're not going to have the conversation. I remember looking at one of our leaders a few years ago, and it was one new affiliate for every $20,000 in sales. And I was like, what's going on? If you could get this down to 10,000 to every 5,000 in sales, your numbers would take off. Your growth would be exponential. She said, Buck, we just, we like to focus on the sales. We like that aspect of it. We don't want to put the pressure on people. I was like, okay, I understand that. Every team has their culture, but I'm telling you, the measurement, like the speed at which an organization grows, it's the amount of people that they can bring on and help launch into their business. The other thing that we've seen is those organizations that are sponsoring the most, two things. They've built incredible loyalty or trust within their organizations. Okay, incredible loyalty and trust. So that might be that they've got a following on Instagram, on social media, or they have a group of customers that they talk to, they understand, they build a relationship, they know about their families, they know what's happening within their home, they know what they do, they know what their hobbies are. They have this relationship and they love their customers to the point that their customers love them, watch them, care about them and their business. And when you have that strong relationship, that's when sponsoring becomes easier. It's all based off of trust. In fact, back in the day, there was a company that I was with that we did a study and found out when trust was at a level, on a scale of 1 to 10 of 8 or above, those were the individuals that were more likely to sign up, okay, and join them in the business when they trusted them as 8 or above. And in fact, we saw this because individuals, they had never heard of the business before, never heard of the opportunity, but because they had such high trust in that individual, when they said they were going to do this, they said, I'm doing it with you, because they had that level of trust. Okay, let's jump into the next slide. So how do you overcome some of these mental blocks? Well, one, on your teams, recognize it. I want you to recognize those individuals that are like lions, that are just going out there, that have the confidence, that are talking to people, that are building those relationships. We've got to recognize those that are running, that are exemplifying the behaviors that we want throughout the organizations. And then we teach and train it. Have those individuals teach and train what they're doing. Challenge the team. Say, over the next 30 days, here are the principles that we just learned. Let's go after it. Anyone that does X, Y, and Z, this is what we're going to do. And then put in place the programs to help reward those individuals to have success. Let's jump to the next slide. Okay, next slide. Next slide. There we go. So what can we say? What can you talk about? Because this is one thing that always comes up, and they're like, oh, Buck, I'm so afraid of what we can and can't say at Nu Skin. We're not talking about dollar amounts. We're not making like outrageous claims, but what can we say? Let's jump to the next slide. I've got a couple of things that I want to share with you. Big concepts, and then we'll go into a couple of, granular strategies. Okay, one, when we look at acquisition strategies, let's jump to the next slide. Uh, Look at this customer to affiliate conversion. Tell that story, because especially on social media, that's where your customers are. And I want those customers to see that there are individuals that were customers that made the transition to becoming an affiliate. And if we can show that transition, if we can show that in a creative ways, and you guys have way better minds than I do, but it takes away the fear from that pool of people that are potential affiliates. If we can show them, man, this person loved the Lumi Spa and said, I want to jump in. This person loved New Biome, the gut drink. They said, I want to do what you're doing. This has changed my life changing. And so they jumped in. And if we can tell those stories, it gives for the audience that we're talking to, maybe I could do this too. I love these products. So paint that picture. Next slide. Okay, social proof. This is also coming back to that storytelling. But going in, when we're talking about storytelling, and feature real affiliates sharing their experience of products that have impacted their confidence, lifestyle, and personal growth. Okay, so sharing those stories on your team member saying, "Oh my gosh, this is how it's impacted me in my own personal experience." Using videos, emphasize flexibility, personal development. That's one thing that we shy away from, that we don't talk a lot about, is the personal development. And I believe that your business, Nu Skin's business, anyone that does this becomes a better mom, a better husband, a better parent, a better spouse, a better employee. This breaks free like a lot of the fears that you have, and we've got to talk and share about those stories. Next slide. Focus on the community. Okay, you've got to focus on the community. And I know that there's a lot of teams that do a great job with this. But you focus on the team and focus on the friendships. You focus on getting together. Focus on, the growth that comes, and, sharing each other's wins and successes and lifting each other up, because that's one of the major reasons that people join direct sales companies. Next slide. Which we touched on. Focus on the skills and the growth that you've experienced of overcoming insecurities, or having more courage and strength and confidence because of the things that you're doing. Next slide. And then leverage some of the social trends that are out there. Yeah, there's lots of things that we can talk about here. I mean, one in particular, guys, that we've got to start looking at is TikTok, and how do we leverage our business and talk about our products on TikTok to even finding new customers that, again, will drive that entire funnel. So I've got a couple of ideas, okay? A couple of ideas that I wanted to talk with you about. So let's jump into the next slide of some themes. Okay, next slide. So one, we talked about sharing that journey from customer to brand affiliate. I don't see a lot of this happening, but I want you guys to be able to paint that picture, because if 90%, which I believe about 90, it's probably even higher than that, 95% of all the affiliates that are joining us come from the customer first. They have an incredible product experience and say, I want to do this, okay? So if you can paint that picture of success from a customer to affiliate, we're going to pull more people from that customer base. Next one, it says, what have I gained? Okay, so yes, there's a lot of monetary benefits of being in Nu Skin, but focus on a lot of the other things. That's like the personal growth, the friendships, the confidence, like what it's done for your family, those types of things, the intangibles. By focusing on that, we again will be able to pull people up to say, that's what I want in my life. I want to be my best version of myself. Okay. Talk about the emotions of this, you guys. Talk about the first time that you were able to treat your family to X, Y, and Z. Talk about the first time that you had your own little nest egg that was in your Venmo account, and what that meant. Those are the emotional things that we can talk about that everybody is looking for. Okay, next slide. Number 3, a day in the life of an affiliate. And I see you guys do a great job of this. What does that look like? Because when our customers, those people that are watching, they see it and they're like, I don't know if I could ever do that. But if you show them how that you're working it in the flexible hours of your life, that you're able to focus on family here, that you focus on business here, and you're able to bounce back and forth to help create a business and work with your teams, show that. Show your schedule, show what you do, and show that this is possible and tangible for anyone, anywhere. Next one, highlight the members of your team. Show that your team are incredible individuals, that what types of background that they come from, what they do. Highlight your upline, highlight your downline. Start telling the stories of each and every individual, what they did before Nu Skin and why they decided to join. Share those types of things. Let people envision that this is possible. The last one is, it's always coming down to calls to action. Okay. And you guys do a great job of this. As I look and see the social posts that you're putting out on the business, it's like, reach out to me, create the conversation, look for ways that you can get those individuals that are watching, that are sitting on the fence, to start reaching out. When you see that they're commenting or liking, that reach out to them and start that conversation. Those are the people that are ripe to join you in the business. Now, I want to recognize now some of the individuals that we have that have been focusing heavily on recruiting and have found some amazing ways to continue to build and create brand reps within their organizations. So let's jump over to some of the recognition that we saw this last month. Here are our top new leader signups. So when you look at BAs, the top recruiters in our BA groups, and then our Blue Diamond organizations, these are the top Blue Diamond organizations that are sponsoring and building right now. And some of these names that are on there, you see some names that are there that have been with the company for a long time. There's brand new people. We've got Kayla Troutman that is just ripping it up right now as a brand new BA. You've also got in our Blue Diamonds, Erin Kay. I wanted to point out, she was the #1 recruiting organization in the entire all of North America. And she and her team have latched on to doing even some live events to build in more of that sponsoring and recruiting. And so you see up there, Mary Kenny, who is a team elite, who is one of our top recruiting BAs in the company. And then you've got Erin Kay, you've got Rebecca, Tori Armstrong, some of these individuals that are just really focused on building the business and building the team right now. You guys, I want you to feel 100% confident in what you're doing. And if you need something to shock the system, if you want us to jump in and say, this is who we are as a company, we put together a business presentation. I'm happy to share that with any of you. And I want you to be doing these on a regular basis. I want, especially for brand new people, I want them, if they are feeling a little bit tenuous about talking about Nu Skin, do something like that. Do an event that gives them an overview of who we are, what we're doing, where we're going. Worst case scenario, your team, by joining, they get it ingrained in their mind of like, what are we all about? But best case scenario, they're bringing people in and you've got fresh blood in your business that adds in that energy that will drive your organizations going forward. Oh my gosh, you guys, there's so much happening right now. So much good that's coming over the next 6 to 12 months. We can't stop now. We got to keep going. So reach out to me. You guys all have my number. I'm going to put it in the comments right now. I'm going to put it in the comments so that you have it and you can feel free to reach out anytime and we can set this up. Me, Ricky,